Many people think managing their time is just about setting up schedules, using timers, or jotting down reminders. They assume disciplined individuals possess some innate talent for always being punctual, as if efficiency is a gift only a few are born with. But that's a misconception that keeps countless individuals stuck in chaos and dissatisfaction. I'm Tracy, and I've come to understand that organizing your time isn't a natural talent. It's a choice you make. It's not about taming the clock, but about mastering your own thoughts. If you don't take charge of your time, you're handing the reins of your life to others. You don't need to learn countless strategies or micromanage every second of your day. What you need is the habit of deciding what truly matters before the day starts, because your life's value isn't measured by how much you accomplish, but by what you achieve with purpose. Success doesn't come from relentless task endurance. It comes from focusing on what counts. Every moment you invest in what's vital pulls you closer to your true path, while every moment squandered drifts you further away unnoticed. To change your life, begin with your daily schedule. To gain more freedom, start with structure. Organization doesn't confine you. It liberates you, giving you focus, meaning, and clarity. It makes you dependable, sharp, and effective. Because the person who commands their time commands their future. That journey of mastery doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins right now.
The knowledge is power, and the power is in your hands. Subscribe for more power.
Time management isn't about squeezing more hours into your day, but about using the ones you have with wisdom. Everyone gets the same 24 hours, yet not everyone turns them into meaningful outcomes. Most people spend their days reacting to crises, rushing between tasks, distracted by what's urgent, neglecting what's essential, and ending up drained without moving forward in what truly matters. Each day lost adds to a cycle of disorder and frustration. On the other hand, those who learn to manage their time recognize that every moment holds value. The real secret isn't about doing more, it's about doing better. It's not about rushing faster, but moving with purpose. Mental clutter is the greatest obstacle to productivity. When your thoughts lack focus, your actions lack direction. That's why time management starts in your mind, identifying what's truly important, what deserves your effort, and what moves you toward your goals. If you don't clarify these before the day begins, everything will feel urgent, and you'll become a prisoner of the moment. Managing your time is, at its core, about managing your thoughts. It's about choosing before acting. It's about deliberately deciding how to use your most precious resource, your time. Successful people don't leave their days to chance. They start each morning with clear intent. Before glancing at their phone or diving into emails, they take a moment to set their priorities. They know that if they don't shape their day, someone else will. That's why they plan, organize, and eliminate what's unimportant. They guard their focus fiercely because they understand it's a limited resource. While most people lament, "I don't have enough time," they counter, "No, you just haven't set your priorities." Time is always there. What's often missing is direction. Consider this. Every minute you spend planning saves you hours of effort. Clarity reduces redundancy. Structure banishes confusion. Planning eases stress, yet many shy away from it, mistaking organization for rigidity. In truth, organization creates freedom. When your day is structured, you have space to think, rest, and savor life. When chaos reigns, rest feels impossible. Organization doesn't stifle creativity. It unleashes it. The key is to treat your time like your most valuable asset, because it is. Every moment you let slip away without purpose is gone forever. You can rebuild wealth or mend relationships, but lost time is irretrievable. That's why those who commit to managing their time do so not out of obsession, but out of respect for their life's value, knowing that every unstructured day is a missed chance to pursue their purpose. Structure isn't a privilege, it's the foundation of achievement. Managing your time is an act of self-respect. It's acknowledging that your life is finite, your energy is limited, and every day matters. Most people live as if time is endless. They wake up aimlessly, lose hours to distractions, react to problems instead of preventing them, and let others dictate what's urgent. At night, they grumble about not having time for what matters. But it's not time they lack, it's structure. The successful person knows that order isn't forced upon them. It's their tool for freedom. The more organized you are, the more control you wield. You don't serve the clock, you harness it. A cluttered mind breeds nearly every failure. Without a plan, your mind defaults to survival mode, chasing only what's immediate. And the immediate rarely aligns with the meaningful. That's why organization begins in your thoughts, not your calendar. Before listing tasks, you must clarify your direction. What's your purpose? What outcomes are you chasing? What goals align with your vision? Without clear answers, any to-do list becomes a trap. Because being busy isn't being productive. You can spend all day working without advancing toward what transforms your life. Those who master their time live by priorities, not excuses. They know not everything can be done, but the essential must be. They focus on what creates impact, not what fills time. While others juggle multitasking, they choose one key task and give it their full attention. Their approach is simple yet powerful. If everything is a priority, nothing is. That's why they say no, often, even to good opportunities, to say yes to what truly matters. This mental clarity makes them seem more productive, but they're simply more intentional. Daily chaos doesn't erupt suddenly. It builds through small choices. Every time you procrastinate, every time you react impulsively to the urgent, every time you sideline the important, you're feeding the chaos that holds you back. Organizing is the courage to break that cycle and take charge. It's not just about schedules or routines. It's about creating a mental framework that shields your focus from distractions. The discipline of planning is really the discipline of choosing how to invest your life, because time isn't spent. It's either invested or wasted. You decide which path to take. Imagine how everything shifts when you embrace planning with purpose. You wake up knowing what you'll do, why you're doing it, and what you aim to achieve. You don't improvise your day. You shape it. Your mind sheds the stress of, I have too much to do, because every task has its place. That sense of control boosts not just your productivity, but your peace of mind. You feel calmer, sharper, more balanced. Because organization isn't just efficiency, it's harmony. It's the ability to live without the constant dread of forgetting something, without the guilt of stagnation, without the weight of unfinished tasks. Organization isn't a one-time achievement, it's a daily practice. Just as an athlete trains their body, you must train your time. Plan each morning, reflect each night, adjust each week. Great transformations are built in these small moments of intention. Don't wait for more time to organize. Organize to create more time. When you master your hours, you stop merely surviving your days and start leading your life. That, more than a technique, is a mindset. Organizing your time isn't a mechanical task. It's a statement of purpose. It's choosing to live with intention, not by default. Refusing to let days slip away meaninglessly. Refusing to confuse activity with progress. Most people spend their lives staying busy, rushing, extinguishing fires. They feel they're working hard, but they're just running in place. They do a lot, but achieve little. Successful people pause before they act. They think, structure, and plan. They don't move on impulse. They move with purpose. And that's why they accomplish more in less time. Because when your mind has a clear path, your actions align. A key principle from great leaders is this: never start a day without planning it first. Your mind craves clear instructions. Without them, it scatters, gets overwhelmed, and gets pulled by the urgent. Organization isn't restriction, it's clarity. It tells your brain what to do, when to do it, and why it matters. When you direct that focus, your entire world begins to align. Days stop being a string of reactions and become a sequence of deliberate choices. That shift transforms your life entirely. Consider this. Every minute spent planning saves at least 10 minutes of effort. What feels like a time sink is an investment that multiplies your efficiency. Successful people dedicate time to planning because they know clarity cuts down effort. The clearer your day, the less energy you waste deciding what to do next. It's not about filling a schedule, but giving structure to your purpose. True organization begins when you can separate what drives you forward from what holds you back. You must also realize that managing time is about managing your emotional state. Many fail to build habits not because they lack tools, but because their minds are too noisy. Anxiety, procrastination, indecision, they all stem from mental clutter. A plan quiets that noise. You no longer wrestle with endless options because your priorities are set, your focus clear. Mental organization doesn't just yield results, it brings calm. And calm is the richest soil for creativity, productivity, and growth. Organization also teaches you the power of focus. In a world brimming with distractions, the ability to sustain attention on one task is a massive edge. While others scatter, you complete. While others start a dozen things, you finish one well. Success isn't built on half-finished ideas. It's built on completed tasks. Every organized day is a quiet victory that compounds. And when those victories stack up, your life transforms. Never forget, organizing your time isn't about piling on more duties, but clearing out the unnecessary. It's about refusing to live at the mercy of chaos and choosing to live with purpose. There's nothing more powerful than someone who knows exactly what to do and when to do it, because they don't just improvise, they lead. They don't react, they choose. They don't waste time, they turn it into results. That's the true strength of structure. Organizing your time doesn't mean losing spontaneity, but creating the mental space to enjoy it guilt-free. Most people think planning is dull, that structure kills freedom, that schedules stifle creativity. But that's a myth. Disorder is what binds you, because without clarity, you're always running, always behind, always drained, always craving a break that never arrives. Successful people organize precisely to gain more freedom, more control. When your mind and schedule are aligned, you can relax, think clearly, and savor moments without the anxiety of missing something. Organization doesn't restrict, it liberates. How many times have you felt guilty for resting? That guilt doesn't come from work. It comes from disorder. When there's no structure, rest feels like wasted time, because you know unfinished tasks are looming. But when you're organized, everything has its moment, and you can pause knowing your plan is on track. That's true peace. Not having to juggle everything at once because you've already thought it through. A structured day is a day with room to act, enjoy, and live with clarity. Your mind needs structure just as your body needs routine. Without it, focus scatters, stress mounts, and decisions grow heavy. That's why successful people don't leave their days to chance. They design them. They plan the night before, write down priorities, block time to think, create, and rest. They don't rely on fleeting motivation. They rely on the system they've built. That structure becomes a habit that eliminates confusion. Where others improvise, they execute. Where others react, they lead. Let me take a moment to extend an invitation. If this message speaks to you and you're ready to seize control of your time and live with purpose, subscribe to this channel. I share practical strategies, insights, and principles to strengthen your mind, discipline, and efficiency. And I'd love for you to share something personal in the comments. What's the biggest time thief in your day? And what step will you take today to reclaim it? That reflection might spark the change you need. The disorganized person doesn't fail from lack of skill, but from lack of direction. Their days dissolve into scattered tasks. Their energy splits across countless distractions. Their mind never rests. But those who master their time achieve more in fewer hours because every moment has intent. They wake up knowing their path, end their day fulfilled by progress, and rest with a calm mind. They don't need to work harder. They need to work smarter, because the secret to success isn't doing more. It's doing the right thing at the right time in the right way. And that only comes with organization. Managing your time is more than keeping a calendar or checklist. It's a way of life. It's recognizing that every minute counts, that every lost hour is a chance that won't return. Most people live believing they'll always have more time, and that illusion leads them to delay the essential, to push what matters to tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. Day after day, that delay builds a habit of settling for less, of chasing the urgent instead of building what lasts. Successful people think differently. They know time doesn't pause, that every second gone is a piece of their life, and if they don't use it with purpose, someone else will claim it. That's why they commit to organization, not because they love structure, but because they know without it, there's no freedom, no achievement, no peace. When you organize, you take charge of your destiny, because time is the raw material of your life. How you use your hours shapes who you become, what you accomplish, and what you leave behind. Every minute spent on distractions, unnecessary worries, or aimless tasks is a minute stolen from what matters. Successful people treat time with near sacred respect. They guard it like a treasure because it's their rarest resource. They don't give it away lightly. They invest it where it will have the greatest impact. And that's why they advance while others stay stuck in chaos. Organization starts with a simple yet profound choice, deciding what deserves your focus and what doesn't. When everything feels important, nothing is. That's why successful people learn to say no. They firmly decline distractions, interruptions, and energy-draining people. Not out of arrogance, but because they know every misplaced yes is a no to their true priorities. Most people say yes to everything, fearing they'll let others down, and end up letting themselves down. Organizing your time takes courage to set boundaries, to prioritize without guilt, to choose the essential, even if it means letting go of the rest. Reflect on your day today. How much of your time truly aligns with your goals? How many hours do you spend on things that don't move you forward? Organization isn't a luxury for the busy. It's a necessity for those who want to live with purpose. If you don't know where your time goes, your life will reflect that confusion. But if you take control, if you start planning, tracking, and focusing, your mind will break free from chaos, and your productivity will soar. The organized person doesn't rely on luck. They rely on their system, and that system doesn't need to be flawless, just consistent. Write 3 key tasks each morning. Review your progress each night. Cut out the unnecessary. Delegate what doesn't need your focus. These small actions, repeated daily, create a rhythm, and that rhythm becomes a way of life. Because when time has structure, the mind finds peace. When the mind is at peace, the body acts with strength. And when your life moves in harmony, each day stops being a fight against the clock and becomes a chance to grow, achieve, and thrive. Organizing your time is, at its heart, organizing your energy, because it's not about having more hours. It's about using them when your mind and body are at their peak. Most people try to do more but don't realize their disorganization drains them. They wake up without a plan, leap from task to task, break their focus constantly, and end the day feeling they've done nothing meaningful. They're trapped in the cycle of always being busy but never advancing. The successful person knows the secret isn't doing more. It's doing what matters with full focus. And that focus comes only when your time is structured. External order mirrors internal order. A chaotic workspace, a desk buried in papers, a mind jumping between thoughts, all fragment your energy. You can't think clearly in a sea of noise. That's why successful people make order a daily habit. They start by clearing their surroundings, but more importantly, they clear their minds. Before the day begins, they offload their thoughts, write down what must be done, eliminate what adds no value, and free up mental space to focus on what drives results. Their productivity doesn't come from relentless work, but from cutting out mental waste that saps their energy. When you organize your time, your mind stops being an obstacle and becomes your greatest asset, because you no longer need to juggle what to do next. Everything is planned, and that simple structure slashes stress. You're not improvising, you're executing a plan. Every hour has a purpose, every action has meaning. You don't feel guilty for resting, because you know you're following a process. And that sense of control brings confidence, clarity, and self-mastery. That's the difference between chasing the day and leading it. Many mistakenly think time management is only for work, but your personal time is just as precious. If you don't structure your rest, learning, health, or relationships, you'll sacrifice them. Most people delay their well-being until they have free time, not realizing free time is created, not found. Successful people schedule their rest, reading, exercise, and family time, not out of obsession, but because they know what isn't planned gets overlooked. Organization isn't rigidity, it's intention. It's ensuring your life reflects your values, not just your urgencies. At a deeper level, organizing your time is a way to honor your purpose. Every time you stick to your plan, you build self-confidence. Every task completed on time is a promise kept, and every promise kept strengthens your self-worth. That's why successful people don't need external motivation. Their structure gives them direction and meaning. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They create it. They don't search for time. They shape it, and that sets them apart. Consider this. Disorder destroys more dreams than failure. Failure teaches, but disorder prevents you from even starting. If you want to transform your life, begin by organizing your day. If you want to be more productive, start by defining what deserves your focus. And if you want to feel in control, plan before you act, because when your time has purpose, your life does too. Structure isn't a burden. It's the fastest road to personal freedom and lasting success. Organizing your time also means accepting that you can't do everything at once, and trying to do so ensures you achieve nothing. Most people confuse activity with progress, overloading their schedules, accepting every request, answering every message, saying yes to everything, and wondering why they have no real results. They're exhausted, overwhelmed, frustrated. But successful people know a powerful truth. Less is more. The more focused your attention, the stronger your outcomes. The more selective you are with your time, the more valuable it becomes. Organization isn't about doing more. It's about eliminating the unimportant. Every minute spent on something trivial is a minute stolen from the essential. Successful people are relentless about their priorities. Before adding anything to their day, they ask, does this move me closer to my goal or further away? If it's not a clear yes, they don't do it. Not because they're harsh, but because they know time is their most precious currency. Most people treat time as if it's endless. Successful people invest it like it's rare. That mindset makes all the difference. Another core principle of organization is recognizing that not everything urgent is important. We live in a world that glorifies urgency. Messages, calls, emails, notifications, they all demand instant attention. But the urgent rarely builds your future. It only keeps the present alive. Successful people organize their time around what matters, not what's immediate. They carve out time to think, plan, and create. They don't get swept up in the rush because they know speed without direction is just noise. While most feel productive because they're busy, the organized person feels at peace because they're progressing. They also use their time as a tool for growth. They don't just work. They reflect, learn, and build meaningful connections. They know well-invested time isn't always about tasks completed, but about clarity gained. They set aside moments to evaluate their progress, refine their approach, and adjust their path. That strategic pause separates those who repeat mistakes from those who grow, because success comes not from doing more, but from thinking better. Organizing your time requires emotional strength. It's not enough to have a list or a calendar. You need the resolve to follow through. Disorder often stems not from external chaos, but from the internal urge to procrastinate. Most people let the mood of the moment guide them. If they don't feel like it, they delay. If something more exciting appears, they shift focus. Successful people don't rely on feelings. They rely on commitment. They do what must be done, even when they don't want to. That consistency turns organization into results. Here's the deepest truth. Organizing your time isn't about control. It's about self-love. It's saying, my life is too valuable to waste on distractions. It's giving structure to your dreams, boundaries to your habits, and direction to your energy. It's knowing that time isn't managed. It's chosen. Every day without order is a day that won't return. That's why those who commit to organizing their time aren't being rigid. They're being intentional. And that intention, sustained with discipline, transforms their life into a masterpiece of purpose and excellence. Organizing your time also means working with your mind and body's natural rhythm, not against it. Most people try to force constant performance, ignoring that energy ebbs and flows. They push too hard, skip breaks, berate themselves for fatigue, and burn out before the day is halfway done. Successful people study their own rhythm. They know when they're sharpest, when they think clearest, when they need to recharge, and they build their schedule around that. It's not about being robotic, but being strategic. Someone who knows themselves and organizes their time around their energy achieves more with less strain. Truly productive people know high performance requires balance. That's why they weave in pauses, reflection, and renewal. A brief break between tasks, a walk, a moment of silence or meditation. These don't hinder productivity. They fuel it. The mind can't stay sharp if it never rests. Most think rest wastes time, but successful people know rest recharges the power needed to keep going. Balance isn't laziness, it's strategy. Another vital skill, delegation. Many are trapped believing they must do everything themselves. That mindset keeps them stuck. They micromanage every detail, and their time vanishes into low-value tasks. Successful people know their time belongs to what only they can do, and they delegate the rest. It's not about shirking responsibility, but focusing on what drives impact. Knowing what to release and who to trust is a powerful organizational skill, because the more you focus on the essential, the faster you grow. It's also critical to close cycles. Most people leave things unfinished, projects half done, emails unanswered, ideas unexecuted. That hidden disorder consumes mental energy. Every open task takes up space in your mind, keeping it scattered. Successful people finish what they start, even if it's small. Not because everything must be perfect, but because every completion frees energy. Every finished task restores clarity. Organization isn't just planning, it's completing. And when it comes to time, successful people never dwell on the past. The deepest disorder is a mind stuck reliving mistakes or scenarios it can't change. The more you cling to what was, the less room you have for what can be. Mental organization means letting go, accepting what happened, learning what's needed, and moving forward. Because no order is possible in a mind chained to the past. Time, like life, is only organized forward. Imagine when your time is structured, your mind clears, your body rests better, and your purpose feels real. You stop chasing days. You lead them. You're no longer a victim of haste. You turn it into momentum. That sense of control, knowing exactly what you're doing and why, is one of the highest forms of freedom, because whoever masters their time masters their destiny. And it all starts with choosing to stop living on autopilot. Organizing your time means stopping reacting and starting to build. Most people wake up and their day is already shaped by others. Messages, emails, calls, distractions. They respond to what comes instead of creating what they want. And their life becomes a chain of automatic reactions, each one stealing control, energy, and purpose. But successful people do something different. They own their mornings. They don't let the world steer them before they steer their own thoughts. They begin with silence, planning, and focus. Before checking their phone, they check their priorities. Before letting interruptions in, they remind themselves what they must achieve today. That simple shift changes their entire path. Those who master their time know the first hours of the day are sacred. It's when their mind is fresh, clear, ready to create. If they waste those hours on distractions, the rest of the day becomes a struggle. That's why they guard their mornings with discipline. They have rituals, reading something uplifting, reviewing goals, setting 3 key tasks, or simply thinking without interruption. During those hours, they don't answer messages, don't scroll social media, don't chase distractions, because they know their productivity hinges more on their start than their effort. Whoever wins their morning wins their day. Another key aspect of organization is measuring your time honestly. Many don't progress because they don't know where their time goes. They underestimate the minutes lost on small things. 10 minutes here, 20 there, an hour scrolling online. And by the month's end, they've lost days to nothing. Successful people face that truth bravely, analyze, track, and record. They ask, is this advancing my goal or just passing time? When they find gaps, they adjust without excuses. They don't judge themselves, they improve, because organization isn't perfection, it's awareness. They also know their time reflects their identity. Every yes you give reveals who you are and what you value. That's why they're selective. They don't take on commitments that clash with their vision. They don't spend time with people who sap their energy. They don't waste hours on pointless arguments. Because time isn't just spent on actions. It's spent on emotions. Letting your mind fill with useless conflicts is another form of disorder. The person who values their time values their peace, and something few grasp. Organizing your time doesn't mean everything goes as planned. There will be surprises, interruptions, mistakes. But the organized person doesn't crumble. They adapt. They don't confuse flexibility with chaos. They adjust their path without losing sight of their goal. Because organization isn't a cage, it's a guide. And even if the route shifts, the destination stays clear. Picture what your life could be if you stopped chasing hours and started directing them. If every morning began with clarity, every afternoon had purpose, Every night ended with fulfillment. That level of order isn't a privilege. It's a responsibility to yourself. Because when you master your time, you're no longer bound by the clock. You command your destiny. And that command begins with one choice. Stop reacting and start creating. Organizing your time isn't just a skill. It's a declaration of strength. It's looking at your life honestly and saying, I won't live on autopilot anymore. Because disorder doesn't just steal hours. It steals purpose, dreams, and dignity. Most people spend their days chasing tasks they forget by tomorrow. Their minds leap from one thing to another. Their energy scatters, and their life dissolves in confusion. But the person who chooses to organize their time awakens. They realize it's not about having more days, but giving more life to the days they have, and that awakening changes everything. Organizing your time is, at its core, organizing your destiny. Every hour used with intention is a seed that will grow in time. Every minute wasted is a chance buried. Successful people don't have more luck or talent. They simply chose not to give their time to the trivial. They know every day is a building block for their future. They don't surrender it to distractions, excuses, or idleness. They invest it in what builds, what lasts, what matters. That's why their life seems to accelerate, because their energy doesn't scatter. It focuses. When you organize, your world shifts, your results grow, but most importantly, you grow, because organization doesn't just create success. It builds character. It forces you to confront your lack of discipline, to tame your mind, to overcome your resistance. Every time you stick to your plan, you're forging the most powerful habit, consistency. And consistency is what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers want everything. Doers focus on the essential and follow through without fail. And that starts with mastering time. Reflect on this. Life belongs not to the one who lives longest, but to the one who makes the most of their days. You can have decades ahead, but if you don't know how to use them, you've already lost them. But a person who organizes their time lives every day with purpose, without regret, without chaos. They rest with the satisfaction of progress and wake with clarity. They know who they are, what they want, and how they'll get there. That level of inner mastery is the closest thing to true freedom. Remember, time doesn't pause. Every second is a choice. You can keep delaying your life, or you can start shaping it now. You can keep improvising, or you can start planning. You can keep reacting, or you can start building, because when you master your time, you stop waiting for the future. You create it. And that creation, built from well-used hours, firm choices, and structured days, becomes your legacy. Organization isn't control. It's power. It's not routine. It's freedom. It's not sacrifice. It's purpose. When you commit to organizing your time, you become someone who doesn't let days drag them, but transforms them into steps toward greatness. And if you make that choice today, if you seize control of your time today, you're seizing control of your life. Because every success begins the same way, with someone who decided to stop wasting time. Let that day be today.